Hello everybody, my name is Everardo Gonzalez Aranda, and today I will be talking about obesity awareness. Citizens of the United States have earned the negative connotation of being called the fattest country in the world. A connotation that the government, private business companies, and even civilians have tried to remove from their stereotypes. Before we move on further on explanation, let's define obesity. According to the Oxford Dictionary, obesity is the quality of being very fat in a way that is not healthy. Obesity spread abnormally since the beginning of the 90s decade, and ever since there have been recommendations, classes, and even government-funded programs with time and conscience. With time and conscience, the United States numbers were being reduced, and with the reduce of these numbers, the Mexican numbers were increasing. This is alarming because here, living in the Rio Grande Valley, we live in a community that is 90% Mexican, and some of the people here have been raised in both ways, the American way and the Mexican way. Also, on the last decade, and not just the last decade, but especially on this year with the COVID-19 and the quarantine that it brought with it, it has made that American citizens decrease their alimentary disorders, according to the CDC. Obesity is a health disease that can lead to other health problems, and if the community is not well informed, it can be very hurtful towards the family of the patient and the community as a whole. In the following presentation, I will talk about the problems that obesity can cause and how we can prevent them and oppose them, and some of their solutions that the government had created. Obesity has been increasing in the United States since 2008, and it's something to be aware of. According to the Trust for Americans' Health, the state of Mississippi in 2020 has the biggest percentage of obesity in the United States, with a 40% of its population being fat. Among all the 51 states of the United States, there are 12 states that stand out because of the percentage on its population being fat, being at 35 or higher in percentage. These states are Alabama, Arkansas, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, Mississippi, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, and West Virginia. The increasing of these problems in these states are alarming, and it will only lead to a domino effect that it would happen to all the states in the country. The main problem with obesity spreading is not that people would be unathletic or unable to practice sports. The problem is that obesity leads to several health issues. Diabetes, cholesterol, and even heart problems are some of the many consequences of poor alimentary habits. Cholesterol is a disease that obstructs the veins with fat. If it's not treated correctly, it can result in death. As you can see, cholesterol obstructs the veins with fat, making it harder for the blood to flow through it, causing problems to the heart, and even causing death and the loss of some limbs. Diabetes is a disease that creates too much sugar to your body, that it forgets to create insulin. The way to know your insulin levels is by pinching your finger and testing your blood. People that had this disease have to do this every day. And finally, the heart problems, in my opinion, which are the most dangerous problems a person could face. Because with these problems, your heart can suddenly stop, resulting in the death of the patient. With all this information, we can ask ourselves, if being overweight is bad for your health, why Americans keep getting fatter? According to the medical assistant schools, Americans keep getting fatter because it's a form where they are raised. And they're not being raised as an animal, just getting them fat. No, it's their ideology. Americans are being taught not to keep a regular diet, the lack of exercise are the primary reasons that American kids getting fatter. We can add to those reasons the fact that there's a fast food place every corner, making it not easier for people to quit these alimentary habits. In the most recent times, COVID-19 quarantine has made a milestone on showing how people tend to have more dietary disorders when they are when they are forced to stay in their houses. Now that we know the problem, what are some of the most severe consequences of this disease? Let's talk about the solution. Even though obesity is a disease that is striking the whole world, the United States have been affected by it by some time for now. Since the problem started growing back in the beginning of the new millennium, the American government started programs and recommendations to address this problem. There's a program funded by the NIH, National Institute of Health, and the Recreation and Park Association called the Hearts and Parks. Those sites were created to promote a healthy life and a good alimentary habit. The problem with obesity is that it hits everyone the same. Doesn't matter if we're one race or another. If you don't take care of yourself, it eventually will affect you. This is why the government has also created special programs for focus on every community. There is one focused more on Black women. The campaign is held in Boston, and it's named Move, and it's held the position of Move More and Eat Better. Communities-oriented programs were not the only programs that have been promoted. Schools have also been supported with new regulations for them to serve healthier food for their students. With all this being said, solutions to these problems are inaccessible. As long as people follow these recommendations, do some exercise, and eat healthy, obesity can be controlled. Overall, obesity is a dangerous and silent disease that can hurt everyone, and it can hurt in ways that you can see it. Government has made their effort to prevent them, and even some private companies have found a way of making a profit and getting the people healthier. It all can be done, but everything has to be followed by the citizens. Thank you. My name was Everardo Gonzalez Aranda, and this was my presentation on obesity awareness.